Welcome to the March 10th, Wednesday, March 10th, 2021 session of City of Lawrence Parks, Board of Parks and Recreation. Lovely, it got up to officially 70 today. That's what we like to hear in the world of parks and recreating. Tonight, no actionable items per se, lots of information because we got lots of, I'm going to be kind of corny, lots of really cool and fun stuff coming down the pike for the city. We are going to adjust the agenda there, a little levity there. We're going to do the reading acceptance of the minutes, and then we're going to jump down and have presentation by Structure Point on our master plan. They've really done a nice job, and this is my fourth one, I think, to be a part of, and in my opinion. I know there was a little pushback on the initial cost in this, but we got too many irons in the fire with the city right now. I'm glad we went down that route, in my personal opinion. So don't disappoint. It's coming from the chair here. So we're going to have them jump in. Real quick, thank you, Dee, for getting out the minutes and the like in a timely way, as usual. Has everyone had a chance to peruse those? Are there any additions, subtractions, changes? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor accepting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, I'll sign those minutes and get them moving. All right, gentlemen, the stage is yours. Make it happen.
Is it acceptable if I take off my mask?
Yes,
I'm going to make everybody uncomfortable. I hate presenting with it on because I get out of breath. It just,
Yes, well, I get that feeling.
if I were younger and in shape, it might not be such a problem. I was telling some of you when we were outside that I do have the hard copy of the presentation, so if you do want to take it outside and gather around a tree or something and do the presentation, we're open to doing that. But thank you for having us here this evening. Let me turn the presentation back on. My name is Philip Roth. I am a senior planner with American Structure Point, and the Parks Board asked us a little over a year ago to put the update to their Parks and Recreation Master Plan. Here with me tonight is Alex Varney, who did most of the legwork for the plan. I abused him terribly, and he puts up with it very well. And of course, Randy Warman from Structure Point, the man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him. Anyway.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. It was last January.
Jesus.
And that's one of the things that I kind of want to talk about a little bit as we go through this, is just how much the pandemic kind of threw a monkey wrench into our process. We developed everything and submitted a scope to Eric and to Jeff ahead of time, and then, wham, the bottom fell out. So my intent tonight, just so you know, I only want to talk for about 20 minutes, and then if you have questions after that, we have several hard copies of the plan that you can peruse and take a look at. We also have some of the older editions of the plan if you want to compare and contrast. So there's a variety of information we have. The city needs this plan in order to apply to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources for Parks and Recreation funding. Barring any changes that you all come up with tonight, the plan you see is the plan that we're looking to bring to you for adoption in April. In case you're wondering, the reason we're not bringing it to you for adoption tonight is that we hadn't had the approval of Department of Natural Resources on the content of the plan by the time we were scheduling all of this. We got that approval on Monday. Yay. They have the wrong contact person, however, so we're getting that corrected. We'll get that to you, but this letter will actually become part of the documentation of the plan, along with your adoption resolution next month. Once we have all that, we'll do a full printout of the document, get it to everybody, get it to DNR, and then all of the I's will have been dotted, the T's will have been crossed, and everything right up nice and neat. Now, I want to start by talking about what some of the requirements of parks and recreation plans are. These plans have a 5-year lifetime, shelf life of 5 years. If you miss that, that's no problem. It just means you can't apply for funding that particular year. The prior plan expired in 2019, but in talking with Jeff and with Eric, there wasn't any planned application for funding in 2020, so there was nothing lost by getting the plan going and getting it adopted in 2021. That's good because it would have taken us, you have to have approval from DNR by April 15th. It takes about 4 weeks for them to review the plan. That would have left us about 10 weeks to do the plan if we had started in January. That's just not enough time. The DNR has a list of elements that need to be included in the plan. We addressed those elements through a 3-phase process. We did an existing conditions analysis, looking at both the demand for parks and recreation services within the community, what are the different population groups that exist, what do they want, what do they need, and doing a supply analysis. What are the parks and recreation services that are currently being provided? What is their condition? What is their assessment relative to the population? The second phase was doing an assessment of gaps, as well as exploring alternatives for development of the park system and not just the physical development, but the policies. And then we used that to inform the identification of action steps. And then we had public involvement at various steps along the way. There were really 2 main phases of public involvement. Now, DNR requires that one of those public involvement steps be a survey, or essentially be a survey. We did that early in the process when we were doing the needs identification so that people could tell us what it was they thought the park system required and how it would better fit what they wanted. We were originally intending to have a public meeting later on in the process to receive input on the draft plan. That was what got deep-sixed by the pandemic. Originally, it was going to be the Parks Board itself that was going to be doing the public workshops. That became infeasible. I'll show you in a moment what we used as an alternative to that. We also were benefited from the participation of a very active steering committee. No, the Zoom shot is not actually of the steering committee. We couldn't get them to hold still long enough for a shot like that, but we did have a very active committee, and we had to adapt pretty quickly to the Zoom environment. By now, all of you know how challenging that is, but it was quite a transition. But we had representation from the school corporation, from the mayor's office, from the Parks Foundation, from park staff, from the Parks Board. So we had, and I know I'm leaving people out, oh yes, the Reuse Authority was also on there. So we had a lot of people helping us out with the planning process, who were advising us on the content of the plan, and significantly, we're getting the word out about the plan when opportunities for public involvement were possible. It was really nice having some of the representatives from the sports leagues on the committee who were able to get out a lot of the opportunities to their constituents, and then also the school board, the township school corporation also was able to do some mass emails and distribution of the opportunities for public involvement, students and the students' parents. That helped us out considerably. Talking about the survey, we developed the survey in cooperation with the steering committee, and response exceeded our expectations. We got about 283 responses, which for a survey of this type is very good. The map on the right is showing the distribution of responses by zip code. The darker the color, the more responses we got. As you see, most of the responses we got were from the city of Lawrence, about 75% or 210 of the responses. We were also pleased, surprised, but pleased at how much participation we had from non-Lawrence residents. And we believe this is because of both the school corporation and the sports leagues getting the word out. Just for comparison, I'm showing a map of the sports league membership, the soccer league membership in the lower left. It's similarly coded by color. The darker the color, the more members they have in a particular zip code. So them getting out a lot of the opportunity for the survey to a lot of their members really helped us boost the participation. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get more of the people around 42nd and 46th Street. We actually called about 10 or 12 churches in that vicinity, asking them to get the word out to their parishioners about the survey, trying to get them. We were still experimenting, responding to the circumstances. It would have been nice to have been able to have some hard copies to distribute as well, but nobody was going to church. We were adapting as things happened. The responses to the survey will be on slides that are coming up. We have a whole packet of information. And if you look at the document that we have for you tonight, that's actually just the write-up. We have a separate volume that's appendices. About half of that will be the survey documentation. So you can dive into it, and we can provide it to you in Excel form if you want, if you really feel like digging into the numbers. One other thing we did was provide a virtual public workshop space. I mentioned that the workshop was something we were counting on later in the process to help us get responses and reactions to the draft plan. But even if social distancing requirements were to have let up, we don't think that we would have gotten very good participation. So in consultation with Eric and with Jeff, we decided that we would develop this virtual workshop space. This is something that our company was developing for other projects, and we were fortunate enough that they said, okay, we're going to experiment with you guys. And what this is an actual website, and I believe it's still live. I mean, you can still take a look at it. You can't submit comments and get it to us, but you can still take a look at the information. And you can pan around the room, and by clicking on those icons, you can view boards, give your contact information if you want to get more information later, leave comments. There's also a video from Mayor Collier welcoming people to the meeting. Had that up for about 2 weeks, and we got about over 100 responses. So again, for experimenting with it, we were pleased. We did consult, by the way, with DNR ahead of time about all this, saying, help us out here. Can you give us some guidance here? We talked to them about this option. They said that's fine. So it had their blessing before we actually committed to it. Based on the public involvement and in consultation with the steering committee, we started taking a look at some of the mission and vision statements that had already been developed for previous parks plans. Already had a mission statement. The mission statement is outlining your purpose as a board and what is going to direct your actions. We liked the mission statement. The steering committee liked the mission statement. We reformatted it a little bit. I guess we're bullet point people and not narrative people, but really didn't do a whole lot to the mission statement. However, we did add a vision statement. Vision statement complements a mission statement by talking about what the outcomes, the desired outcomes from your activities are going. This provides an opportunity for other organizations with similar visions to collaborate with you. And because the Parks Board does collaborate a lot with a lot of other organizations, the sports leagues, Arts for Lawrence, et cetera, having an explicit vision statement is a nice thing to have. It also, we think, addresses some of the concerns we were hearing early in the project that people don't value the park system. How do we communicate what the value of the park system is to people? So this, we feel, helps us set a good tone for the communication of the plan and what we're trying to accomplish. I just wanted to note that quickly. The prior plans did have goals and objectives established. The goals were good, and we kept the goals that existed. And those are the goals that are in black. However, we felt that, along with the steering committee, that there was a need to provide additional clarity for some particular items. So we added a few goals. Connectivity, number 2, and that primarily is referring to the connecting the park systems, the different facilities to each other with alternative transportation facilities. Adding something that specifically talks about quality of the park system itself, and talking about the programming specifically. Now, our recommendations also follow this general organization. I'm not going to go through all of the recommendations, that would simply take too long, but I'm going to do some highlights. I'm going to start, this is going to be strange, I'm going to start with category 2, because I think that some of the recommendations for category 1, operations and administration, make more sense after you've heard some of the other recommendations. Jeff, did you have a question? It looked like you wanted to.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay. You're seeing here some of the comments that we got on the survey. I apologize, I guess that's a little small to read. But most of the majority of comments, majority of commenters, I should say, had something to say about connectivity to the parks. We had asked the explicit question of how people got to the park system, and most indicated that they drove. 75%, as a matter of fact. Now, bear in mind that 25% of the respondents live outside of the city, so they would have to drive. But still, a substantial portion of your residents do drive to get to the park system. And they really don't seem to have any other option to do that. This finding really helped us in identifying 2 strategic actions in particular. Number 1, building upon bike and pedestrian plans that have been done for the community and identifying alternate transportation connections. But also, if people are driving, you want to make sure that your wayfinding and signage is very clear. You don't want them to blow by not having missed a sign. And you also want to have some consistency between the signage and the wayfinding parks. I'll touch on that more in a moment. Now, we're fortunate because the Indianapolis Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the regional transportation planning organization, and Lawrence is a member of this organization, they've spent well over a decade going up through 2015, 2016, doing a variety of alternative transportation plans for the entire region. And what you're seeing here is a set of facilities that were recommended from that planning process. We're also fortunate in the sense that the Indianapolis Park System operates the Indy Greenways. And there are, in fact, Indy Greenways that do come up into the southern part of Lawrence from the south. We overlaid these facilities on top of the park system, and the connections between the parks are striking. That most of the parks are connected with each other with this kind of system. This doesn't just include trails, this includes bike lanes, it includes some multi-use pathways along roadways. So there are a variety of different kinds of facilities that are part of this plan. The park that unfortunately seems to be left out of all of this is the Louis J. Jenn Memorial Park, 63rd Street. Unfortunately, so we got to think about a little bit about how we would get connections in there.
Yes. I think that, though it looks isolated, we perceive it as an alternative usage park, you know, rentals.
Yeah.
And it's even during, and you were out there today, Amy?
Yesterday, yep.
Yesterday. It's even on a nice, warm, sunny day. I think that's kind of a forgotten or not known of, but the playground is not readily used a lot. It's a special usage, other than, of course, in the front you have the Bark Park. So I don't feel as uncomfortable about that one because it is seen as a special usage rental facility.
There's also Kensington Farms and the other subdivisions on the south
Yeah.
side that connect down into 59th Street that have some, and that those subdivisions have sidewalks and other walking facilities in there. So not everything is shown on the map here. Not all the connections are shown on the map here. But the nice thing about this system, having been planned in cooperation with the city by a transportation planning organization, is that this enables transportation funding programs to be applied to these facilities, federal transportation funds. So this opens up a new source of funding that the park system hasn't previously utilized. That brings us to signage. We're showing on here some of the different signs that we've seen in and around the city as we go through it. It's not that these signs are poor or bad or anything like that. It's the inconsistency that is so striking. You wouldn't necessarily know that these signs came from the same park system. There are other more subtle issues that there's room for improvement. For example, the Oakland and Play Park, the sign is rather small and flat and faces the road directly. It's not at an angle, so you can drive by it very easily. I did about 3 or 4 times looking for it.
Drive right onto it.
And then, something like the community park, the sign could probably be up a little higher, elevated a little bit more. But what really this brings to mind for us is that this need for consistency probably provides a good opportunity for an overall brand refresh park system. This is something where you can develop the brand, the logo, the color scheme, whatever that would be consistent with your website, with your printed materials, your business cards. All of that would be something that could be considered. That doesn't fall under this. That falls under category 1. But that's why I said that we wanted to wait till later to talk about category 1.
Real quick, Eric, how many parks are getting new signs?
2 at community parks, so the first one's gone.
Right.
This park's gone. Road and Veterans Park.
Okay.
We're making, and there's a common theme with them.
Yeah.
The Veterans Park sign we are removing.
And none of this is a criticism, mind you.
Oh,
We're
no.
fully aware that
No.
park systems are often operating on shoestring budgets. You got to take what you get when you can get it. But you've matured as a park system to the point where some kind of overall examination would be worthwhile. Another thing that we noticed, and this kind of falls into a couple different categories, is that the parks that serve neighborhoods are generally unevenly distributed. Fortunately, your community parks are doing double duty, so they access a lot of neighborhoods. But there's still an accessibility issue in the southeast and northeast parts of the city. We in the plan identified 2 candidate sites for small neighborhood parks. One is at Oakland and at 75th vicinity. The other is in a more general area between 42nd and 46th Streets over by Pendleton Pike, between Pendleton Pike and German Church Road. So there are some opportunities there for a small park development. It needn't be a large facility, but it could be something rather modest to just have some playground equipment or some other kinds of local serving types of facilities. The regional parks that you have, and you are really blessed here, I don't tell you that. You have Community Park, which is a terrific facility. Fort Benjamin Harrison, of course, which while it isn't jurisdiction, is certainly an asset to take advantage of. And you have Veterans Park as well. Veterans Park is interesting, though, because being on the edge of the community, most of its service area falls into Hancock County. Now, as it so happens, this area of Hancock County that's served by Veterans Park is a place that is, Hancock County is looking for rapid development, for residential development. They have recently done, or are doing, excuse me, a study along Mount Comfort Road to look at what the residential and employment opportunities are along there. They're about to embark on a comprehensive plan, which is their land use policy document. So this is a good window of opportunity to have a discussion with the county about that park, how it might be used to serve some of the areas in Hancock County, and in turn, what kind of revenue sharing that Hancock County could potentially do, knowing that it doesn't have to develop a park of its own, that it has a facility that's already there for it. The last thing I want to mention under category 2, and this is by far the longest category, is the Purple Line. Bus rapid transit line that Indigo is planning along 56th and then up to, or not 56th, 38th Street and then up Post Road. Now, it is true that the current legislative session is introducing some challenges to the funding. So I have been involved in transit planning for about 25 years in this community. I can't tell you how many times transit funding has tried to be killed and resisted it. So I wouldn't say that this facility is down and out. So keep an eye on this because it really it runs right by the east edge of Community Park, or Soccer Park, I guess that is. No, that's not Soccer Park. Community Park, yeah.
The backside of Community, but there's tons of soccer fields there.
Yes. Having stops that are relatively close by to that park, it might introduce an opportunity to beef up the entrance to that park perhaps a little bit, since there's going to be more traffic going by it. I would imagine that since your sports leagues draw from outside of the city, that a lot of people, a lot of the competitors, a lot of the parents would be using the Purple Line to get there. So there's an opportunity there to kind of keep track of. And fortunately, there are people on our steering committee who are already plugged into the planning process for the Purple Line and who have agreed to communicate any relevant actions or relevant opportunities along to the Parks Board when they come up. Now, the Category 3 activities has to do with making sure that the parks and recreation system is usable by all types of users. This includes low-income and ethnic minorities. That primarily falls under the purview of the neighborhood park that I was talking about, as well as the connectivity. But it also covers persons with disabilities. And there is some room for improvement with the accessibility of the park facilities. Some of the comments are listed on the slide, but I want to be clear here. ADA technically doesn't apply to everything that you do. It's really more about stuff that's been done recently. As a general principle, it's a good idea to think about the inclusion of all people as we make improvements, as we go forward. In order to guide that discussion, we did come up with some priorities, and this is in declining order of importance. We think that internal circulation deserves some attention because while you have some asphalt pathways in most of your parks or larger parks, there are some ball fields that aren't necessarily accessible except by dirt paths or gravel roads. So that would be one way to help improve accessibility. Parking, I don't need to tell you, it's a general issue. The parking lots, and I know that this is something that's been a concern of yours as well. Many of the parking lots need to be resurfaced, restriped. The handicap spaces, I will note that the handicap spaces need to be striped such that there is a buffer for opening the doors. It's not just about getting the dedicated slots, but it's about ensuring that they have enough space for the doors to open and trying to make sure that persons with disability can get in and out of the vehicle safely, conveniently. The rest of the areas, are things that, as opportunities permit, the restroom access, drinking fountains, et cetera. So, but the internal circulation, the parking, we think are things that probably merit some focus over the next couple of years. And again, I don't offer this as criticism. This is something that's characteristic of park systems around the state. So this is something that everybody is trying to make sure that they keep on their radar screen and keep up to do continual improvement on. We have a variety of park-by-park recommendations. I am not going to go through all of them. There are a few to highlight, however, particularly as they pertain to community park. Community park was a particular interest to the steering committee. It's evolved over time, and like many things, it was due for a reassessment. And we developed and discussed two alternative concepts for its redevelopment. Primarily placing the fields so that you could have a little bit better access to them, perhaps allowing some kind of concession stand in the center, and having an asphalt pathway to that stand so that you could supply it with whatever you were selling. Having ball fields that were sized for the particular types of leagues that were being done, and improving circulation in parts of the park. This also, we expanded upon this a little bit in the second concept. Pickleball was a surprisingly frequent recommendation in the survey. And so in this concept, we added a couple pickleball courts. We have a basketball court there as well as a revamped playground. We don't have it in the concept, but a splash pad was also part of the recommendation for community parks. Well, I understand you're moving forward with that. Anyway, okay, that's good. Splash pad, good. We did have people who recommended a swimming pool. Maybe we take that on in a couple iterations of the plan from now.
Before you gotta maintain them.
A splash pad is a nice facility that helps a lot of kids stay cool and have fun in the hot summer heat, greatly reduced. A lot of the survey respondents requested additional programming. So these are some of the categories that they were recommending. And I don't think anybody begrudged the emphasis on youth sports that currently exists. However, many people wanted to expand upon that and build upon that. Programming that responded to a variety of age groups and a variety of interests. We're recommending that you continue your partnership-based organization, try to come up with programs for alternative groups, elderly, for example, programs for adult users. The collaboration with Arts for Lawrence that you're pursuing provides a good opportunity for exploring some of these. It was also suggested, we think it's a good low-cost idea to implement, is that you have some kind of an inbox, public inbox for suggestions on your website. It's a low-hanging fruit, it's easy to implement, and it helps make a park system more accessible or more communicative, more transparent to people, I guess. And finally, the last category of recommendations, it has to do with operations and administration. And you can see, hopefully by now, why we saved this for last. A lot of the recommendations don't make sense until you've seen the other things. For example, staffing, depending upon what you decide to do with programming and how you decide to pursue that, they may have staffing implications for you. The maintenance and upkeep of facilities, I know you work a lot with some of the partner organizations to do upkeep of the ball fields as well. It's probably time to revisit the contracts that you use for those kinds and for those partnerships. And funding, of course, is an ongoing concern. The administration should be exploring partnerships with various organizations. We know, for example, that Indianapolis receives part of its food and beverage tax for parks and recreation services. Your likelihood of getting some of that money is better if you go in there with a specific project to ask for money.
That probably used to be worded as property tax.
Oh, is that?
It's property tax.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll change that then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unica.
But the idea is that, if Indianapolis is proposing greenways and bike facilities within your boundaries, well, maybe it makes sense for them to help fund some of those. So,
Eric and I were talking about that earlier today, those interlocal agreements between City of Lawrence, and we've done that before, correct, Eric? Interlocal agreements between Lawrence and Indianapolis that serve the park.
Just on the construction.
Okay.
Formal agreement. We used to have a agreement, local agreement with the school system.
well, we did reach out to the Indianapolis Parks staff, but they were undergoing some leadership changes. And it was also during this really strange time. People were working from home and not necessarily returning their phone messages or emails. We did reach out several times, so we did attempt that, but it was, we're not able to initiate that community. Still, that's an opportunity. The relationship with Indigo on the purple line, as I mentioned, is something that's worth continuing to monitor. They've already made their application for federal funding, but they have significant budget line item for sidewalks and trails around the stations that they've established. So again, keeping an eye on that, being involved in discussions of how that planning goes would be worthwhile. And then talking about the rebrand again, looking at that and then basing your signage refresh off of that rebrand. So the plan right now, again, is to bring the plan to you in April for adoption. And then once it's adopted, we would get the resolution, letter, documentation, and print out multiple copies for your benefit. We have greatly enjoyed working on this project. It's been a lot of fun, and it was an interesting time to be doing it.
Yeah.
Particularly when we were going out doing the survey of parks. I mean, we're going out and looking at the parks facilities and nobody's out there. So,
But at the other end, as springtime came about and into the summer, that's why I think this is why this document now is so important, is I think people are still gonna stay closer to home. The arts district coming online when it is, I think people are going to stay closer to home. Means we've got to find a more variety of way to entertain, to enrich.
and let me rephrase, a lot of them indicated in comments that they were using parks more now for kind of diverting themselves from what was.
Oh, yeah.
The sports leagues themselves were not playing.
Right.
And so when we talk about the sports fields had grass growing, they were
Right.
mowed, and that's okay. We didn't expect them to be. We didn't make any kind of a comment about that. But it was an interesting time to be doing this project and seeing kind of the shift that the park system was undergoing as far as what function is served within the community. Because this was the only thing that a lot of people had.
Yeah. They didn't realize it. I was going to say, they didn't realize it. It's like when the summer rolled out, community park from 9 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night, you had people running fitness classes out here, and you thought it was a baseball night.
Now, Jeff, Eric, I didn't know if you had anything to add about the process or observations you had.
Like I said, as I followed along, I'm blowing smoke your way, but it's as detailed outline, involved master plan that we've ever put together. And the path that we're now heading down with cultural campus open, we're adding a civic plaza. Administration does have, but we're revamping 2 big parks. We're merging a youth baseball league. There's other works down the pike that I can't lay out yet, and we need to have the background as to why we're going to do it and where we're going to do it.
it was hard to keep up in the plan with all you were doing, I gotta
Yeah.
say. I mean, Alex was coming to me every other week saying, did you know they're already doing this? I'm like, no, let's write that down. You know, maybe with this, oh, let's get that in there, you know. So it was interesting to kind of stay up to date with everything while you were doing the planning, while you were doing the implementation.
The only question I have, and Eric, maybe both you guys can chime in on this, we get done and we get adopted, it gets to DNR, what's the first step, or how do we use this to our benefit initially? What's the best path to go down now that we have this tool? In other words, so what?
It's due by the 15th of April, so we can actually apply for land and water conservation funds this year if we have a project for it. With our project still not completed yet, City Plaza,
Right.
are not as apt to give
Right.
funding back to back, but we've got the trails program, we've still looking for that. So
And this, now, when we didn't get this round of grants, correct?
not in the next,
Next level.
2020.
Okay.
2020. You can get it in 2021.
yes.
Okay. And this does help us at least present what we're trying to do, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Just an
Yeah,
extra.
I think we did get confirmation from DNR that what they've reviewed constitutes substantial completion.
Okay.
So from their perspective,
We are eligible.
we've met the timing.
Okay.
We just have to get it adopted, of course, but
Right.
that's not going to be.
Only two outstanding issues are, one, actually adopting the plan, two, publicly presenting it one more time.
Okay,
I
got
spoke to our contact at DNR. Basically, they are fine with any kind of public presentation, so even if we just put it on the website for
Okay.
a week and tell people, hey, give us your thoughts, that's completely acceptable as long as we report what they may say or,
And this is just, okay, yeah.
and again, we can do that in multiple different ways if you want to do it in different ways, but
Miss Amy, can you wave your wand and what you've been doing and try to get the word out? We'd like to have the public.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And I'm sure that Jared will probably nod and say, yeah, they
Yes.
can on the website.
That's a nice thing, having young brains, Amy, Jared, and those folks. Yeah.
We've had great cooperation with the mayor's office.
Yeah. I think we are finally embracing that parks are not just something you have to have parks. Quality of life issues, I think we're finally fully getting our hands around either parks beyond stick and ball games, like having an arts district. You've got to have quality of life issues to drive your community. Can't police your way out of any crisis, I would say that. Any other questions? All right, well, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Very impressed. And we just got to do something with it.
Again, thanks to the Structure Point staff.
Yes.
They've been remarkable. And it's the first time I've met Alex face to face. but
Oh, I know, I was going to say, who is this Alex guy? He's a phantom.
Yes.
He's the guy behind the curtain.
He's even more impressive face to face.
Leverage for a pay raise, man, pay raise.
Oh, man, now don't put it in my face.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eric, do you want us to hang around, or are we free?
Are you guys good? I'm good right now.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you very
Thank you. Miss Judy, that puts you up here next.
No, that's it.
You guys don't mind, I want fun stuff.
So there's not a whole lot to report since, didn't he call me?
Yes, he didn't notice him.
There's not a whole lot to report in the last month, but they have come back to work in the last week or so.
That's kind of why when you come out, that's called warm weather. That's kind of exciting then.
Yeah, we have one gentleman that is one person hand laying all of the pavers down the history walk, and he is about, 3/4 of the way
Yeah.
finished, maybe a little bit more. He's gotten to the place where the artist walk and the history walk intersect, so there's a kind of a cool pattern in the pavers there, so that's kind of fun to watch. I did notice today that they have delivered the lamp posts. We should be seeing those go up pretty soon. So everything is still, moving smoothly. Questions?
Three is not an issue. How are we coming with the windows on the visual arts?
Windows are in production.
Okay.
So the DNR approved our windows. I think last time
Right.
I noted that they were approved.
Okay.
They do have to be created. They are not standard
they're
windows.
not.
They have to be metal
they're
awning
not.
windows, quite expensive windows. And so they should be installed the last week of April or the first week of May. So that's the last thing to happen at the Visual Arts Center. We're still waiting for water to be hooked up to the Visual Arts Center, and we're working on a lease with the city. Yeah.
Real quick, I'm good, because I was going to email you, but I can ask face to face. Is it best, we're all going to get invites to the grand opening, which is May 22nd?
So there are two
There
things
you go.
happening.
Did you write the dates down?
Yeah. May 21st is a VIP invitation only. It is free, but it's invitation only evening event, which you are all invited to.
I'm going to rent a tux.
And that is, it will consist of tours, kind of behind-the-scene tours of all the facilities, and of course, entertainment and refreshments and drinks and all that kind of stuff. And that is Friday, May 21st from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. The next day, May 22nd, is Saturday. That is our grand opening. That is a large festival. It's from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. It has every facility activated. There will be vendors on the plaza. The amphitheater will be activated. And we will have programming indoors. We are watching what the CDC says we can do. And so right now, we are looking at short performances with less than capacity. Hopefully, we're at 50% capacity.
Right.
In those spaces, but the majority of the entertainment will be outdoors on the amphitheater.
And I have the invitees list I shared with you. It's best to forward emails, correct?
Emails would be great.
That's what I'm going to do, is go
Mailing
email.
addresses, that's even better, because I
Okay.
think that Victoria likes to send out hand-addressed invitations for the VIP night.
Okay.
But if you know of someone, it's really, VIP night is really for all of you who have helped make this come to fruition. We're going to do our best to keep everybody socially distanced, but, I don't know about all of you, but I'm going to be vaccinated by then. And
Yeah,
hopefully all of
same
you
here.
will be too, so.
I'm going to be vaccinated, and I'm actually, Friday night, I'm going to wear a tuxedo, by God, and I'm going to,
Good for you.
I am, I'm going to take a shower and get a haircut, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and
I won't recognize you.
no, you won't. And I'm going to, Judy, the only time I've seen you a bit is kind of right now, because you got all this coming together to fruition. So please breathe.
Yeah.
We gotta get this thing open. She's busted.
Trying to breathe, yeah.
Yep. She and her had staff changes, staff additions. This is actually going to happen, and it's going to happen, and you're allowed to breathe. You can breathe on the 23rd.
You're right.
But I never thought that you've heard me say that an arts district in the city of Lawrence would ever happen. So this is a big deal. And a lot of the things from the master plan, I hope people gleaned from it, the partnership coming together of various parts of the city. Parks, arts, they're not a part of each other. They are a part of each other. And it's a pretty exciting time, next couple of months.
Yeah. I'll bring up one other thing. We have a placemaking council it's actually the Fort Bend Placemaking Council. We have our meetings an hour before this meeting, or an hour and a half before this meeting. But there was a lot of talk about some synergy between not only Civic Plaza and the Fort Bend Cultural Campus, but evidently the gazebo on Lawton Loop is being activated in a more public way now.
Yes.
So that's really exciting. And so I think we're going to have a lot of great activities for not only our community, but our visitors here in the city of Lawrence, help boost our economy and all
Yes.
that stuff.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Keep grinding. It's almost here.
Vaccinated or intoxicated.
All right, guys, we'll get back to routine here. Just real quick, A couple things just to bring up, and maybe I'll knock it off your list Eric, by me mentioning it here real quick. If you get a chance, swing by Starrett Center with our catering contracts going to be activated here shortly, correct, Eric? Has Ashley looked at those?
Ashley has left the city services. We have a new Caitlin, and I'm not sure of her last name.
Is she going to she will be the one that's handling those terms?
Yeah, she'll be doing our legal.
Okay, from our end, our job's done. We're just waiting for those contracts to go out to the 3 caterers to be signed and on file. Redoing the kitchen is just about, I'd say, 75-80% done at Starrett Center. Doesn't look the same. Out at Jenn Park, a bit of an issue. Had water issue, tearing out wall, had to tear out the floor in the kitchen. The fact it didn't burn down from an electrical issue is it's all, and Eric, real quick, give an update on where the kitchen is out at Jenn Park.
They're hanging drywall now. They've got the subfloor in. And Jeff's right, 70 years of antiquated electric service. We're lucky something didn't happen in there.
Yes.
But we got our contractor in there, and we traced back a lot of lines and disconnected, and so cleaned that up quite a bit. We hope to have the drywall completed by the end of next week, and fixtures in week after that.
And that kind of dovetails over, we're talking about the signs going out. We're going to do that in-house, Eric?
The signs? No, the signs are being put in by
Okay.
by the company.
And when is that happening? I know it's
They
coming up.
should, they've marked utilities this week. We spoke to them last week. They thought it would be the end of this month, first next month, but I would imagine that Community Park will be the first, receive the first signage, and then from there, so.
A couple things. Work at Lee Road, now that's going to be one of the parks that's going to be kind of the exciting component. If I'm correct, Eric, the first phase of transforming the baseball fields that are not going to be used this year, we're doing the topsoil removal and then fence removal?
Yeah, probably in that order, because, and it's not the topsoil, it's just the infield connection
right, yeah.
material. There's 4 or 5 fields there that we're going to take the infield material off. Cost savings to both ourselves and the league, and haul that to Community Park to put on the fields there to get those up into shape. And then we'll start taking fencing.
Okay, and they're working, Virgil, I know Virgil and the gang from Lee Road, Fall Creek Baseball, that they're playing baseball on the field. Thank God, there's hope springs eternal. But they've been working their tails off at Community Park, getting the concession stand. Have they asked for us to start moving anything? That memo that Kevin sent?
We're still in flux with that. That's when they get their, we moved the dumpster yesterday for Lee Road Park so they can start cleaning out that concession stand. They'll still have operational concession stands both at Lee Road this season, somewhat drawn back, but then most of their concession activities will go on at Community Park. That's the one they've got everything torn out of there, painting,
Okay.
and then we'll help them organize stuff back in there.
Do we have agreements?
Okay, that's a good, I'm going to bring that up. All right, have you shared with the board the potential lease agreement for Fall Creek Baseball yet?
No.
Okay, if you will share that with the board, and if we have to, I'm going to suggest, if not all of us can be there, we just need a quorum. If you feel the need of all 5 of us, probably I would like to get, after you folks have had a chance to peruse the lease agreement, use agreement with Fall Creek Baseball in the city, give input. If it needs massaging, we'll call a special meeting to give it an approval or not. I just feel, I don't want to give it to you on Monday and say, damn it, we're going to check this out on Wednesday. The big difference, and I'll just go ahead and tell you now, between that agreement this year and last year is in the payment in kind, we are going to put a zero, I'm going to propose that it's a zero sum for this baseball season. It's a one-year agreement. We're coming back to life. You know, we're hoping they can have 400 rec league kids play, plus, you know, Fall Creek has a multitude of travel teams. And they want a longer term, but I said, we'd like a one-year agreement. We'll go zero this year and take it from there to see where we are this time next year. But if you'd send a copy of last year and this year's to the board and you guys peruse it, comment, and then I tell you what, I'll make next Wednesday, I'll go, guys, do we feel comfortable acting on this? If so, we can call a special meeting, if you're comfortable with that timeline.
Is it clear to everybody that they're not going to contract anything out?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be honest. When we met, me, Joe Murphy, Mr. Eric, and Virgil, and Kevin, and Will, I was not over the top, but I was extremely adamant that we're not anti-tournament, we're not anti-charging fees, but you don't get to decide that. And I think I made that pretty clear to them.
Yeah.
They got it.
Good, I want that clarified.
Yes. So I think we're in good shape, and I did meet their treasurer.
Oh, they've got somebody on?
Yes, and she's real good. I did meet her. So please, guys, if Eric, you get last year's and this year's proposed to the board, and then I'll bug you on Wednesday, gang, and I better write a Wednesday board. All right, I know what I'm saying there. A couple other things, Eric. Have they started, this is random as hell, have they started 4th of July committee activity chats yet?
We have not. I would assume that we'll probably start those fairly soon.
Okay.
On a positive note, I did hear from our amusement contractor, and they're out and about.
Oh, so they're functioning.
Leaving Florida and
Okay.
heading north, so they want to do a show this year.
Okay. Ms. Norman, our carnival is it's a gathering.
All right.
Just wanted to know, and I'm giving you a shout out, Bark. Amy's done a great job of promoting our parks, our Facebook page, and the like, and putting a positive light on it. Much high fives. Real quick, as you saw from the presentation of the master plan, our staff is going to be taking on, and funding is going to become a big issue. Our staff the burden placed upon them coming up this year and going into the future with the maintenance of the cultural campus, then the civic plaza being added to, and then the addition of transforming Lee Road Park and Community Park. There's some things in the work, which, you know, Amy and I have discussed in detail, and Joe Murphy putting a fitness trail to be shared by the school corp and the city out at Lee Road Park. And you saw on the master plan ideals for at least Community Park. So staff usage, and it's going to pile on. And now that we're going to be having summer sports, just a general maintenance and routine, that just might be an issue that we will need to come back to on a regular occurrence. Okay? Because I made a note here, I'd really like to see the Oakland and Play Park fence replaced. So the big section is now out of it. But it's not so much money to buy the fencing, is finding the time to get that installed and the like.
What's the status of the parking lot situations at the community park? You able to do anything with that? It's pretty bad.
It is, Tom. Again, I think that's a topic that we'll have to keep addressing.
Sure is.
It's
That's my concern about, all the things that we talked about.
Correct.
Are really nice things.
But the basic,
Gotta take care of the banking
yeah.
part of it, and I'm real concerned about that.
and I'm sure when Jeff speaks to you individually that he'll address some of those things that we've got to look at a complete funding source to get things up.
Yeah, because we're at a status where we're at a continuation phase. We're going to have youth baseball out there, and we're going to have our festivals.
Right, it's gonna get more use.
Yeah, and then we have to address the long-term, you know, you can build it. I'd love to have a swimming pool in the city of Lawrence. You can build it. We could build it, but the maintenance costs would eat you up, and that's,
I didn't catch what you said about the splash pad. Is that something that we might be looking at?
It's, we're
Those, and they seem like they're-
we're obtaining some cost number just to see if it's something we can do internally, you know, within the confines of the city's budget, or whether we have to look at a,
What's got a ballpark cost on those things?
well, it just depends on what the amenities are, but you can go from anywhere from $250,000 up to
$1 million.
$1 million.
Put all the toys and
Yeah.
bells and
I
size.
didn't have any idea.
But just a pretty straightforward is gonna cost you $300,000, $400,000.
The swimming pool is kind of out of
Yeah, whew.
from our range, I think.
Gonna say, the Fort Harrison White has a great swimming pool.
Yeah, they're going-
Yeah,
They have a great pool.
and I believe you can buy like a summer pass.
Yes.
Yeah, you can,
You don't want to do year-round membership.
yeah.
Board members, you have any question of Eric before I turn him loose, in case we didn't touch on anything?
The one, I think, the PowerPoint that we saw tonight, can we
Yes.
get a copy of that?
Yeah, I'll ask them to send us a copy.
You know, I've got the,
Yeah, I got, they did, I know, 'cause like I said, that there was some contention on cost of it, but I think is, at this moment in time, I'm gonna throw this thing. Like, would that have helped us on the next level trail grant, Eric, if we would have had a master plan on file?
No, because they don't look at that. They look at the trails master plan.
Okay, understand.
So we're part of of the Marion County Greenway program, so.
And this is where we're gonna have to, now that we have this, we are gonna have to get aggressive on the interlocal agreement with Indy and Lawrence and Hancock County, you know, the town of McCordsville, town of Fortville, interlocal type of agreement.
any indication they would be willing to work with us, McCordsville, or wherever, have we ever?
I don't know. And again, working across county lines, I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. I know that the board can enter in interlocal agreements, but I don't know if it can be across
County lines.
I
They
don't know why I
gonna go through
couldn't.
and make the corrections that,
Yes, yeah, that's one of those, if you go through here and you find it, I mean, anything, like I said, the food and beverage, that should be a property tax. Because I was very proud that Indianapolis is gonna dump roughly 40 million into some park properties, but still not really, you know, they're working on the Grassy Creek Park area, which is what, 21st?
30th and
30th,
Midhofer.
Midhoffen, but it still doesn't really address that park desert from roughly 30th Street all the way up to Pendleton Pike. On either side, either Indy or Lawrence. And Amy, if you remember, when we drove around and looked at parks, we went through that stretch of 42nd between, you know, German Church. And that's what they pointed out is, you know, it's a park desert.
Well, again, maybe with our interlocal agreement, we look with the school board to look at Winding Ridge as maybe do
Yeah.
some sort of partnership at the school site. And
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we really ought to look at is working with the schools. To-
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work, but some way or another, you guys got a lot of facilities, and
Your kids have needs and you have a place we can put this thing. It's a win-win type of thing. And this is a great opportunity with school leadership and city leadership. I think we can pull this off.
Well, and I know from the district, we're seeing a large increase in our enrollment down in that area.
Yeah,
So that would,
especially with the new housing that's going in down there. It's almost our last area of, you know, family housing going in.
they have the established walkways around the golf course.
Yeah.
So in essence, they could get to the site
Yep.
fairly easily. Actually, the only thing you didn't cover, Jeff, we're in discussion with Fall Creek or FC Pride on their annual contract.
We have a gathering tomorrow at 4.
And that's part of the staffing thing we discussed. We're going to try to push as much off on their plate as we can, but we'll see what they can suffice and what we can.
Okay.
Because we have one individual that lines their fields, and that's, oh goodness, probably anywhere from 20 to 24 hours a week in
Yeah.
man hours that he spends on lining fields that we could use elsewhere. So just keep that in mind. And then Amy is helping us with again, with the COVID situation, our traditional Easter egg hunt, we're kind of still a little leery of doing that, so we're going to do a pass out during the food drive that the foundation's doing on the 25th. Dean and I are going to stuff eggs and then put a raffle ticket in each one, and then we're going to do a Facebook Live awarding of a gift through the tickets. So that'll push people towards our Facebook,
Right.
and the city website also.
Okay. One request I have of you, Helen, listen in here. Get me your email and home addresses, and I will make sure I ship them off to the arts folks, because I really want a good showing. This group, because we're just now getting started in this, and the things they have planned are pretty exciting. If you're come to the Starrett Center, Eric's office, you can come out and look at what they're working on and what they've got done, so feel free to do so. Look at the kitchen. You can even sneak out to Jenn Park and knock on the door if you see a white truck there and scare Bobby Connor or Ronnie G that's out there. And they're doing a nice job, but we've gone from slow to now it's kind of steamrolling.
Hour, yeah.
Yeah. Eric, anything else?
Just lastly, your Jenn Park fountain is due in this month, so.
That was, yes, we're getting the Jenn Park fountain. Eric, real quick, did we approve the Gaelic thing we just wanted? Do we need to approve? What do we got?
We spoke to Josh today. They have their COVID plan in. He sent them an email. They've had it in for a month now, and he still hasn't heard confirmation back from Marion County. So we're still on hold. Again,
When are they wanting to start to use it? I can't read this because I'm blind. 11th of April.
yeah.
All right. We can approve this agreement pending their,
Yeah, we have a copy of their plan, their COVID plan.
that's what I want.
Yeah, we have a physical copy of it.
Okay.
It just hasn't been approved by Marion County yet. So if you can accept it with the provision that
Right.
we receive a notice from Marion County.
Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they're good folk. Yeah. It's weird what they do, but they're good folk.
Well, I would move what Eric said.
Yes. There a second?
Second.
All those in favor of entering a use agreement with the Gaelic League pending approval of their COVID plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Thank you. I'll sign it. Anything else for the good of the cause? Real quick, before you leave, what is this here? Assurance of accessibility is compliant?
You'll sign that with your resolution. That's just that you'll abide by the ADA standard.
Oh, okay. I didn't want, I saw it go, I thought that's what it was.
You can sign it now, and I'll keep a hold of it, or we'll sign it at the next meeting.
Do I sign for Helen?
No, probably have her signature on it.
All right.
We'll take it out to her.
All right, Miss Helen, you're going to get a visit from Mr. Martin to sign something, so behave yourself.
That ain't gonna happen.
Make sure and call, she could be out gambling or
I
something.
know.
He'll give you a scream, kiddo.
Okay, all right.
All righty. All right, anything else for the good of the cause? If not, go Bulldogs. Miss Helen, have a good evening, ma'am.